Thank you. Mr. Cuellar.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to both of the witnesses, Ambassador Cabeza de Vaca, and of course, Mr. Secretary, also Brownfield. Good seeing you. Let me, first of all, I also want to record my support on what you're all doing for the young girls in the situation in Nigeria there with the Boko Haram. As a father of two young girls, I think it's just horrible that parents and the kids have to go through that particular ugly situation. I know that 3 weeks have gone by. That's a lot of time, for law enforcement and military, but hopefully y'all can follow up on those leads, and I would ask y'all to keep us informed instead of us reading this in the media. I would ask y'all to do that, number one. Number two, let me direct my attention to south of our border with the traffic in Mexico. A couple issues, Mr. Secretary. One is, as you know, the Mexican federal government and the state government deal with human trafficking. There's a lot of inconsistencies between the states and the federal government. I would ask you, what are y'all doing to help coordinate that across the 32 states and, of course, the federal government? What sort of united front are we looking at? The second thing has to do with the judiciary system, prosecutors, et cetera. As you know, a fraction of human sex trafficking is being reported in Mexico, and less than 2% are being convicted. As you know, their conviction rates, generally speaking, are pretty bad. And tied into that, I know your boss, Secretary Kerry, and I disagree with him. I think he's talking about cutting 49% of the aid to Mexico. There are some countries that get over $1 billion and they're able to have, quote, the capacity to handle that, but for some reason Mexico doesn't have the capacity to do that. And again, I say that simply because we got a 2,000-mile border and we spend billions of dollars on the U.S. side. So I would ask you to, if you can address those questions itself and comments on the last one.
Sure. Let me start, Congressman, and then I'll defer to Ambassador Vaca if he has any trafficking in person specific comments, and I'll give more of the Merida initiative approach. First, the importance of state and local engagement in Mexico. It is a theme that we have been hammering in our dialogue, narrative, and engagement with the federal government of Mexico now for more than 2 years. Both the current administration and, in its last year, the previous administration endorsed the concept. We had about a year during which time, as is to some extent normal, when a new administration comes to office, most new programs were paused under Merida. Beginning with the start of this calendar year, January of 2014, programs have in fact begun again with endorsement and support and agreement by the national government of Mexico, and a substantial percentage of those, about 25%, are focused on the state and local municipal institutions in Mexico. About 1/4 are also focused on the Office of the Attorney General, the PGR, in the Mexican government as well. 85 million out of 350 million so far agreed to this year. And that is indicative, I hope, of a commitment as well as a realization that prosecutors and court structure and administration must be part of any long-term progress in terms of our cooperation with and engagement in Mexico. Finally, Congressman, I, of course, will have to start any commentary in terms of budget requests for support for the Merida Initiative by saying, as a member of the Article 2 branch of government, that of course I support the President's budget request for fiscal year 2015. I, too, noticed that the request level is 45% less than it was last year. I will work to ensure maximum effectiveness and value of whatever budget this body, the United States Congress, chooses to appropriate and make available to us. But yes, I, too, noticed that the request level is 45% less than it was for the year before.
Thank you for your great job, Mr. Secretary. Appreciate it.